from the Fox 5 studios, this is Silver State Sports Live.
Happy Monday, everybody. It's a new week with a new series beginning, and John Tortorella finding new ways to upset the NHL. Welcome into Silver State Sports Live. I'm Mike Davis.
And I'm Mariah Janos. Much like the Knights, the Aces are finding ways to win. We've got the highlights from Atlanta, and speaking of new series, the A's can put the rough outing against the Giants behind them and focus on the Angels. But we do need to get back to the news that broke in the middle of our show on Friday. The Vegas Golden Knights have been stripped of their second-round pick in this year's draft, with Coach John Tortorella also receiving a $100,000 fine for, quote, flagrant violations of the NHL Stanley Cup playoff media regulations. The league dropped the hammer on Torts and the Knights just one day after the series clinching victory over the Ducks, where Tortorella declined to speak with media and closed off the dressing room to media as well. The Golden Knights have been offered an opportunity to appeal the sanctions to the commissioner's office at an in-person meeting that would be held sometime this week in New York City. Not really convenient. If the punishment stands, the Knights will not have a second-round pick for 4 consecutive draft cycles, as they've dealt away the 2027, 28, and 29 second-rounders in previous trade deals. Not ideal.
No, and not now. While the league is making things difficult for the Golden Knights are making things difficult for former coach Bruce Cassidy. Despite firing Cassidy at the end of March, Vegas has yet to give teams permission to speak with him in regard to vacant coaching opportunities. Now, across the league, most notably declining the Oilers' request to interview Cassidy. Since Cassidy has 1 year left on his contract with the Golden Knights, the team could technically keep him out of coaching next season. When asked about the situation on the TNT game broadcast, here's what Bruce had to say.
Have you talked to anybody yet? Because a lot of stuff has been out there.
No, I think right now Vegas has to grant permission, and they're they're in the middle of a playoff series right now. They're I know they had to deal with Brady McNabb hearing yesterday and stuff. So I'm going to respect that they have other things on their plate, but hopefully at some point. So I know a couple of teams have reached out that they they allow me to do that because I'm a coach. It's what I want to do, and hopefully that's what comes of it.
Okay, so while Bruce Cassidy awaits an answer from the Knights are awaiting Game 1 with the Avs. Game 1 scheduled for Wednesday night. It's a 5 p.m. puck drop from Ball Arena. And here's Coach John Tortorella on the team's ability to close out the series in the first 2 rounds.
I think we've just gotten better as the round has gone on. I think you're always working on things, and you may have to make a change here and there within the lines, within your concept. But the bottom line is just handling the momentum swings as series goes on, winning one, losing one, how you bounce back. I just respect the team so much in how they handle those type of situations, and I think that's why we got better as the rounds went on.
All right, so here to break down all the dramas. Ken Boehlke of Sinbin, Vegas. Ken, good to see you. Let's start with the ramifications from declining media availability. A second-round pick seems a bit extreme. What is your understanding of the situation, and do you think there was anything personal against Torts playing a factor in the NHL's decision?
I think that the NHL decided to kind of make an example of the Golden Knights here. They've had a long history of kind of being not as forthcoming to the media as they necessarily could or should be. I don't know that they've ever stepped across the boundary as far as this one, flat out denying a post-game press conference and saying that the bus was leaving, which is kind of ridiculous considering they own the bus. And then they had to get to their flight, which is chartered on a plane that they own. So the whole thing is a bit, it was just time that the NHL decided, you know what, all of the things that have occurred in the past, let's bring the hammer down and set a precedent, and that's what it ends up being.
Yeah, now do you expect the team to appeal this? And also, do you think that this will impact whether or not the Knights bring back Torts next season?
I think they will appeal it. Anytime it's kind of presented in that way by the league, that indicates that they're going to allow the appeal. You might as well take the appeal. I don't have any idea how that's going to go. I don't know if that will lessen the fine or lessen the draft pick or take that away completely. I don't know. We will have to wait and find out on that one. As far as like, is it personal against Tortorella? I mean, it's basically like he's a repeat offender. Like, he's not a repeat offender in Golden Knights history. He's only been here for 50 days or so, but he's done this time and time and time again. And there's one, the historic one, if you go back, when he said that he thinks the league was in cahoots with NBC to get more penalties to send a game to overtime. And it's like, the league's like, hey, bud, can you not do this? And so when they saw he's the one that was the one to not do a post-game press conference, it's like, well, we've been fining you 10,000, 25,000. I guess we'll do 100 this time.
Wow. All right. Well, moving on to Bruce Cassidy in that situation, we can understand, not wanting him to go to a division rival in the Edmonton Oilers, but how long do you think the front office is actually going to stand in his way when it comes to, interviewing for other coaching opportunities?
I think for now it's just kind of, there's a convenient opportunity to do this. Like, everyone knows that in the history of the NHL, when a coach is relieved of his duties, typically they're offered the opportunity to have a chance to go interview with other teams. And one of the big reasons for that is the way that NHL coaching contracts work is when you're let go from one job, you're required to get paid out on the remainder of that contract, unless you take a job with another NHL team. Then either they take over the entirety of the salary, or you have to pay the difference if you're the team that let them go. So typically it's in the best interest of the team that let the coach go to allow him to go find another job. I think at the moment, the Golden Knights are just taking a chance, as they've done many times in many different rules, kind of just, looking for that loophole a little bit. Like, you know what, let's make it just a little bit harder than what it could be. I think in the end, the league is probably going to let them know, like, you're going to have to go ahead and do this. We can't have this happening again. It does not set a good precedent. I think eventually, whatever team wants Bruce Cassidy, whatever team Bruce Cassidy decides he wants to go to, he will eventually find his way there, because he's the best coach available on the market. So whenever that happens to be, he's going to take that job. And eventually the Golden Knights will stand down.
Yeah, the organization just wanting to be a thorn in everyone's side at the moment, it's looking like. But I want to shift to this series against Colorado. I know that Mark Stone, Jeremy Lauzon, not present for morning skate today. What kind of impact could their absences have going forward against such a dominant team like the Avs?
Yeah, Mark Stone's about as important of a character in the Golden Knights lineup as there possibly is. I mean, not only how great of a player he is, but just the emotional boost that he brings as the captain, kind of the heartbeat of the franchise, and has been for a long time. They need him. It's very, very important that he comes back in the lineup, and unfortunately, we don't have much information on it, because when asked about it, Tortorella has basically said, I'm not talking about the injuries. So we're not going to get a ton there. As far as Lauzon, he had a pretty good series in the Utah series, certainly was looking like the best he's played since he's been in Vegas. It does not look like he's going to play. That's based on my sources have indicated that it's maybe mid-June or early June, about the time that he could potentially return from the injury that he had. So it doesn't look like he's going to play in this series. They've had pretty good luck with the fill-ins. Ben Hutton's been pretty good. Dylan Coughlin's been good when he's been in for Caden Korczak. Korczak also played pretty well in the game when Brayden McNabb was suspended. So I don't think the impact is as severe with Lauzon as it is with Stone. But, I mean, Stone's injury is obviously one that we're going to have to keep an eye on the entire time, because if he doesn't play, it's a much higher battle for the Golden Knights. And this isn't going to be easy, even if they had 100% Mark Stone. This is going to be a hard series for them. Without him, it's even tougher.
Okay, last thing for you, Ken. Prediction. Do you have one for this upcoming series?
So I try to never do this, because everybody knows I cover the Golden Knights. I follow the Golden Knights. I've been here from the beginning of the history of the Golden Knights. I've been here through Stanley Cup championship runs and trips to the final, and this is our 5th trip to the Western Conference Final. I very, very, very rarely do this. I cannot pick the Golden Knights in this series. I just don't believe that they are strong enough to beat the best team in the NHL that is rolling at a level that's really, really impressive. They won 8 of their 9 playoff games. They beat an incredibly good Minnesota team, where Vegas has kind of beaten 2 newer playoff teams, not necessarily as battle-hardened as the team that Colorado beat. I cannot in good conscience sit here and tell you honestly that I think the Golden Knights are going to win this series. It would not stun me if they make it close, if they make it a good series, and maybe by 3, 4, 5 games in, I'll start to believe that they can do it. But sitting here today, I have to go Avs in 6.
That's all right. It's certainly an uphill climb. I think everyone and their mother knows that. But Ken, thank you so much. We appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, still to come on Silver State Sports Live, the Aces are back on track and red hot. We got the highlights from yesterday's win in Atlanta.
This week on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Your Triple SEN lineup is sponsored by AAA Roadside Assistance. Visit AAA today.
You're watching Silver State Sports Live.
Okay, so I think it's kind of safe to chalk up the Aces' season opening loss, that Game 1 jitters. Maybe just, I've never gotten a championship ring, but maybe it was something to do with that.
Yeah, Asia blamed the ring ceremony, so I'm going to say it seems that way, and considering since then the Aces have rattled off 4 straight wins, the latest coming just yesterday down in Hotlanta. The Aces coming out strong. A little back and forth between Jackie Young and A'ja Wilson right off the top. And you know what's going to be a good day when Asia's hitting it from 3. Aces up by 1 after the first 10 minutes.
On to the second quarter. Vegas up by 3. The Aces' newest weapon, Kennedy Carter, draws the defense. She dishes it wide to an open Jewell Loyd in the corner, nails the triple to extend the lead. Aces up by 7 at the half.
The Aces really stretching that lead in the third, now up by 15, and Carter continues balling. The 3 ball keeps on falling. Vegas takes an 18-point lead.
But there's always one quarter where things go awry. That's just basketball, and that was the fourth. Atlanta managed to get within 1 with under a minute to play. Jordan Canada with her 7th steal of the day, going coast to coast to put the Dream in front with 36 seconds left on the clock.
And pandemonium with 7 seconds to go. The point guard locks in. Chelsea Gray lands the fadeaway to put her team back in front, secure the Aces' 4th consecutive win with a final score of 85-84. The Aces' record improves to 4-1 to start the season.
3 Aces players finishing with 20 pieces in the win. A'ja with 26-1, Chelsea 21-5-6, and Kennedy Carter continues to prove why she was the steal of the offseason with 22-3. Carter now has the most points off the bench over the first 5 games to start the season in WNBA history with 97. Here's Coach Becky Hammon on her team's ability to close this one out despite Atlanta's comeback.
Kind of stalled out. We're at the end of a 4-game road swing. We got in at 4:30 the other day. I think we just ran out of gas a little bit, to be honest. Some uncharacteristic turnovers there at the end, but they're going to make a push. The last 2 games that they've had against Dallas and Minnesota, they were down at halftime, I believe, and really good second half team. And like I said, we just kind of hit a wall there in the fourth quarter. So for me and our group, I think it was just a really gutsy win to be able to pull one out. They've had 5 days to prepare for us, and we had like 20 minutes. So really proud of our group.
Bites of the best. While the Aces are heating up on the court, the A's are cooling off on the diamond, dropping 5 of their last 7 games. The latest loss coming yesterday, a total annihilation by the San Francisco Giants, taking 2 of the 3-game series. The A's bullpen and defense collapsed, and it was all in the 8th inning as well to lead San Fran to a 10-1 win.
Not to say the two are directly correlated, but since Jacob Wilson went down with that shoulder injury on May 10th, the A's defense has been racking up some errors. Check this out. In the first 40 games, the team collectively recorded 8 errors. In the last 6 games alone, it's 9 errors. 3 of those errors coming in yesterday's loss to the Giants, which was a season high for the A's.
And that's the story of the game, really. It's a 2-1 game in the 8th. Leadoff hitter we put on. I think we kicked the ball around 3 times that inning. That's not good baseball. And when you don't play good baseball, things get out of hand, and it did in the 8th. And as you see, that's the result.
Well, despite the recent struggles, the A's remain atop the AL West with the Rangers just a game back. The Athletics with a major chance to get back on track here. A new series against the Angels in a divisional series gets underway tonight. 6:40 first pitch.
Now on the bright side, the Big Amish has made MLB history. Nick Kurtz is the first left-handed hitter with 40-plus home runs, 100 RBI, and 100 walks in their first 162 career games. And if that wasn't enough, he is also currently leading the MLB with his 40-game consecutive on-base streak, just 8 games shy right now of the Athletics record previously set by Mark McGwire.
Good company right there. All right, coming up, while we sit here and take guesses as to who will start the season for the Raiders, is it Fernando Mendoza? Is it Kirk Cousins? One former NFL coach has vocalized his high expectations for the young QB. Hear Herm Edwards' prediction next. All right, so who gets the start for the Raiders in Week 1? It's a question that we've been asking since before Fernando Mendoza was even drafted.
Yeah, it's true, and it's a question we will continue to ask. Now, the Raiders have said publicly that they'd prefer to not start a rookie in Week 1. However, it is all going to come down to the quarterback battle throughout training camp. And if my guy Doza makes a good case for himself, well, number 15 could be leading the charge out of the gate. While some are skeptical, one former NFL coach is making the case for why Mendoza should, in fact, be the Week 1 starter for the Silver and Black.
Real simple. Fernando. He playing right now.
He's starting over Kirk Cousins?
He's right now. I'm putting him out there.
No marination?
He don't need marination. He need to go play.
Would you be afraid that it might hurt him too early, Coach?
And we picked the wrong guy. When you pick a quarterback, the first thing you realize when you pick a quarterback, he better be a mentally tough guy. Regardless if you play him his first year, second year, you got to be tough to play this position. Mentally tough. You have to have that. Look, they've done their homework on this guy, and for me, look, if you're a Raider fan, he gives you hope. Yeah. And by the way, the Raiders, and I grew up, up north. And when the Raiders were in Oakland, when they were the real Raiders.
Yeah.
The Raiders need to be relevant in the National Football League. It's like in anything, in sports, in life. There's always a bully.
Yeah.
The Raiders are the bully. They're with the patch on their eye. Yeah. When they come, and when they used to come to your town, you go, hide, you lock the doors, the Raiders are coming.
The black hole.
And so they need to be relevant. They got a quarterback that's young, and I get it. People say, well, you're going to mess him up. How you going to mess him up? He's a football player. That's up to you to get him ready to play. Kirk Cousins is fine. But Kirk Cousins is a good guy to have around him. You remember that guy, Captain America, Tom Brady?
Yeah. He's around too.
You know what happened to him? How he got his start? Yeah. We knocked Bledsoe out, and in comes Captain America. Before he was Captain America, it was Tom Brady running in the game. So he was a Michigan guy.
Yeah.
He did pretty good.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid. When you draft a guy, the number 1 pick in the draft, you're going to say, well, you're going to hold the clipboard now for like a year or two and watch Kirk. No, you're not. Go play. If he's ready to play, play him.
The conviction. I felt like I was listening to a sermon just now. That was amazing. All right, Mike, what's your initial reaction to those comments? I feel like you were eating that up.
I mean, I love Herm Edwards. I'm a huge fan. I always loved him on ESPN. The first thing that I was thinking when I heard him talking, man, he sounds like President Obama, right? I mean, the way that he pauses.
Right.
Fernando Mendoza, this guy, he needs time.
There's power.
The pausing, the cadence to his voice, I love. But listen, Herm Edwards, I think he's right in a lot of ways. I think Mendoza could start Week 1, but I also think he could need time to marinate. You can't exactly liken this scenario to Tom Brady because he was a 6th-round draft pick who nobody was banking on. Drew Bledsoe, it was his team. He was still in the prime of his career. Kirk Cousins is kind of over the hill. We're not expecting Kirk Cousins to come chuck it up like when he was playing for the Washington Redskins. I mean, this is a different scenario. So I think Mendoza probably, as a number 1 overall pick, should have the opportunity to play at some point earlier into the season. But I do think from everything we're reading, Mariah, with the schedule release video, the Step Brothers, the way that Kirk and Fernando have this synchronicity. Honestly, I'm starting to think he might sit a lot more of the season than we anticipate. What do you think?
I mean, I think so. I think the schedule release said it all. No primetime games, no international games. If the NFL had any sort of inkling that Fernando Mendoza was going to get a start, that primetime game would have been baked into the schedule. Now, I'm sure there may be, as we talked about last week, there may be a flex spot later in the season should he get a start. Jesse Merritt came on. He talked about maybe week 8 against the Jets. That could be a nice little primer for him before, sitting back down again until there's some more digestible opponents down the stretch. So as much as I love the enthusiasm from Herm, I think a lot of things could go wrong should you put him out there a little too early. So we'll see what happens. But I still loved the energy behind it.
I also love the shirt and sport coat combo,
Always.
the pink matching it with the blue. Oh, beautiful, Herm. Good
Rock
stuff
it later
there.
this week.
All right, well, coming up, we're going to be talking about somebody he was referring to. Wow, look at this video.
Yep.
That's how some people look at Dua Lipa, and that's how I look at Tom Brady.
From one of Mike's man crushes to another, Doza to Brady, this is the best day of your life. This is your favorite show ever.
I'm still just like in awe that happened.
We're hitting the runway next. All right, Mike, give us your best Zoolander
You want
impression.
Blue Steel
Yeah.
right now?
Let it rip.
I mean, I'm no Tom Brady, but
Ooh!
oh, dude, I thought they were gonna pull up.
Come on, do it better. Go. You got time. Oh my God. All right, so why are we saying this? You're no Tom Brady, but look at Tom Brady walking in the Gucci fashion show, donning an all-leather fit, very Matrix-esque.
Yeah.
He looks kind of
Why
uncomfortable.
he looks like the outfit the girl wore next to Keanu Reeves.
You're gonna wear this tomorrow. I already know
Oh
it.
no.
Yep. We'll see you then.